Hi there. This is Carrie Ellis, author of 21st Century Superhuman, and I am talking to you today from Costa Rica. Just participated in the periphery of the Envision conference down here, and so excited to bring you Dave from Peru. Hello, Dave.
Hi from Peru. We're out at San Roque in the jungle here, so no visuals for me until we move next week in the new offices. We hope to be coming to you live.
Great. Yes, and Dave, and JC and Vivek from the Keshe Foundation. So we're going to have an exciting talk today about what Dave is producing in Peru, but I'm glad you guys are on board with us because your technical know-how always helps me understand how to explain these things better. So welcome.
Happy to be here.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Vivek. Vivek, you say hi so people know it's you.
Hello.
And JC, or John Carl Anderson up in Canada, right?
Hi, everybody. Happy to be here.
And Vivek, why don't you share, I know we've kind of showed a few pictures of the Singapore harbor based on the current news, and you're in Singapore. Tell us a little story you were telling us this morning.
Well, ever since our previous interview, I had noticed from the following week onwards, shipping traffic gradually started to increase. And last week, I noticed 3 Panamax vessels that came into the port, one after the other, that were completely empty. They loaded themselves up to the hilt with containers and sailed out. And right now, looking at the harbor just now, I did notice quite a number of ships in the harbor. So somewhere something has happened and things are moving again.
Cool. Thank you for that report. It's always fun to get, as we hear this alternative news going on and kind of what's going on behind the scenes in the world, which is really exciting. And I talk about this all the time wherever I go. And I know people are at different levels of grasping what's going on, but we are in a lot of global economic and structural shifts that I think are going to help us move into hopefully a more viable culture soon. We're moving that direction. And JC, how are you doing up there in Canada? How's Ruff?
Pretty good. Oh, Ruff. Yeah, he's fine. This thing on his butt came back, and it's now getting better. But for some reason, the CO2 didn't touch it this time. I don't know. I don't understand why. But no, it's going good. Starting to warm up around, and I don't know what to say. Half the businesses in this place are closed, and they're constantly moving. It's just a quiet little town that nothing ever happens in. So I don't expect a whole lot to happen around here until things get moving with the plasma energy. But I have yet to find one person in this town that I've talked to who look at me like I'm crazy when I talk about spaceship programs and the Keshe Foundation.
Cool.
So that's very encouraging.
A lot of pretty neat people out in the woods of Canada, kind of the small towns and communities, a lot of awake people. So I was sharing, and maybe you might try this on Ruff. I was around some people. I spoke at the N5D conference in Sarasota right before I came to Costa Rica. And some of the people had gotten sick and I was around people that had really deep coughs. And as I left, I felt this kind of tightening in my chest. And I grabbed my Keshe health pad, I call it, or pain pad, and it had CO2 GANS in it, and I had put copper GANS in it because I had some copper that had dehydrated, and I just spooned a little bit of that out and added it, and I thought, I'm going to just add this to my health pad and see what happens. And I took it and put it on my chest where it felt a little tight, and within a couple hours it was completely better. So maybe that would help Ruff. Maybe get a couple of other kind of GANS in there, or one.
Yeah, well, the latest version of the health pad is 3 layers. 2 layers of copper, or 2 layers of carbon dioxide with a layer of copper oxide between them. And you sandwich them together and put them in a baggie. And it doesn't act just on pain, but it acts to help rebuild as well. And Dave has used a similar combination down in Peru with amazing results. This is what we're suggesting for the lady with the arthritic hands. And also, as you know, a bath. Put a bowl of warm water with some CO2 in it and have her soak her hands in it. And because that gets it infused right into your system, right off the bat.
The water from the CO2, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the water
So,
off the top.
John, can you tell me how much I'm going to be putting into a bucket of water that she can put her hands in?
You won't need very much. Dave's really quiet. He just asked how much to put into the bowl of water, and you won't need very much. Maybe 2 tablespoons of the GANS water. It shouldn't take very much.
Okay, I will try that because I'm going to have quite prominent photographs to take of this poor old lady's hands, which are really curled up and really in pain. There's no question about the pain. You can see the pain in just the hands. So I'll report back on her improvement, because I expect improvement, because I've got about 100% record here, not 95%. I've got a 100% record when I've tried using the pain pad. So I'll try your new method. Thanks very much, John. Great.
Cool. So, Dave, go ahead and share with us. I'm sorry we can't see you. You might just flip your video on for a second if you want, just so people can see your beautiful face there in the wonderful jungle. Hello, my brother. Good to see you.
Hi, sis. How are you? Sis?
So, yeah, so go ahead and tell us, maybe we might need you to shut video off again so we can hear you well, but go ahead and tell us about what you're doing down there in Peru.
Okay, the first machine is working in the commissioning period on day 16 today.
So when you say the first machine, tell us what that is. You guys built several Magrav Power Units, correct?
Yeah, we built a Magrav Power Unit, a 2 kilowatt version that we're expecting around about that from it. The results on day 16 are we've plugged the electrical shop in. You can see that on www.xi4.com, and you'll see clearly every single light and every socket is now being used. We've got up to over 500 watts, and we are using 170 watt heater guns for doing soldering and stuff like that, as well as the continuous power. And we're going to extend that test on Saturday, so the whole shop will be run by plasma power. If we want to get a little bit technical, we need to go and speak to Vivek and John as to what's happening, but I'm going to explain it in layman's terms.
Yeah, please explain it in layman's terms, and then I'd like them to expand on it, because helping all of us to understand how this is actually working, because it's working differently. It's in addition to our old system, and it's expanding the capacity and eventually should take it over. But please, you explain, and then I'd like JC and Vivek to give us their thoughts as well.
Okay, well, what we get is we invite people to the shop to go and see what we've done. And it's interesting, other people's comments who can't see it working, who just cannot see it. And the reason they cannot see it is because they don't understand it. And that's one of the essences for this show, is to explain to you, but not in my words. John and Vivek are much more professional at explaining what I've done, but I can tell you what I've done. And I've plugged in our power reactor to the bobbins and coils with the plasma inserts inside the bobbins on 3 layers. It's called a stacker unit. And we put the plasma in there. We've covered the bobbins in nano coating, and we've dipped them in the GANS material, the 3 GANS CH3 mix with a CO2 GANS, which is the zinc, and mixed with the red GANS, which is the steel nails made with nano-coated material in salt water mix. So what happens when I plug the machine into 220 volts is nothing for 3 days. And then I put a very tiny 220 volt light on that. And then after 3 more days, I then put a 50 watt light bulb. And then after 3 more days, I connect the whole, the entire workshop, and getting 500 something watts. Now, what the big question is what's giving me the power? And how is it giving me the power? One would say, oh, well, you've just plugged it into the main, so the main's giving you the power. And this is the bit where I need it explaining in layman's terms as what is happening to my machine. John or Vivek, would you like to explain what is happening now I've plugged it into 220 volts and I've got all these lights going off it? What's happening?
Well, when there's one thing that everyone has to remember is that if you were to take a multimeter, set it to resistance setting, and then measure the resistance across all of the capacitors and the coils, you would be measuring infinite resistance. And if you were to turn up the scale to the mega ohms, that's probably where you would be getting some resistance reading. Now, what does this mean in practice? This means that with a normal electrical system, if you have that amount of resistance in the mega ohm scale, you would not have enough current to run a small little light bulb. You wouldn't. Okay, V is equal to IR. It's very straightforward. So, but when you plug in a fan, when you plug in a light, when you plug in a heat gun, when you plug in an air conditioning unit, they work, and they work as they normally do. So the only explanation here is that they are being powered by plasma energy. All that electricity is doing is to give plasma a signature to mimic. And then plasma mimics this signature and delivers energy according to what electricity would deliver. But we have to remember plasma is actually infinite. So there's so much energy there ready to be delivered, but it delivers what you need at the point of need. That's the beauty of plasma.
So can I ask you a question, Vivek? When I plug in my machine and now I put in a series of 50-watt bulbs, maybe I think there's 6 you can see in the picture, you know, and then I've got the resistive power tools like the heat gun, the solder, 170 watts on that. What's driving the light? How is this light lit up and these lights lit up?
Dave, do you want to go into your slides or do you want to wait?
We can wait. I just really want to know that what is giving me this power? Is it the power or is it the current?
It is the plasma that comes from the stacker unit itself. Because remember, your stacker unit is connected to the grid. So all you're doing with that grid connection is to get plasma to understand what signature the energy needs to hold in order to power this. So plasma takes that signature, mimics it, okay, acts as it was electricity, but it's electricity. And then it delivers that energy to your devices. So your devices are being powered off of plasma energy.
Something that we should actually expand upon here, electricity itself is a form of plasma. It's a very rudimentary form, and it's only one side of the plasma equation. The plasma itself has two sides to the equation. It has a magnetical side and a gravitational side. Electricity is only the magnetical side of this equation. The gravitational side, where we're adding with the devices, is vastly more powerful than the magnetical. So what's driving your lights is, in some respect, very, very rudimentary respect, but in a broader sense, it's the combination of these magnetic and gravitational fields working together to supply the energy to make whatever devices you're operating function. It functions a little bit differently. Your devices do operate slightly differently. In a light bulb, you don't really notice it, but if you were to measure all of the radiating energy coming out of that light bulb, you're going to notice there's going to be differences. You'll have some anomalous readings that wouldn't exist if you're running it off of a battery or just plug it straight into the wall. There's other things going on in there, and it can get really, really complicated when you start getting into more complex systems. Just suffice it to say that instead of using a very simplistic single-sided energy source, such as electricity, we're now accessing the totality of energy available to us within the universe.
So, John, I can't. If I put my fingers on the bobbins, which are plugged into 220 mains, I don't get an electric shock. I can test it for heat. And what's going on there? Why am I not getting electric shock? And why is it pleasing to the health?
Well, the plasma energy, these combination of magnetic gravitational fields, is essentially comprises everything. It's the light we see. It's us. It's our structure. It's a rock. It's a tree. It's water. It's the fundamental source of all that we perceive, including thought. Thought is plasma as well. Awareness is plasma. This plasma that we're working with, the energy fields that generate around these devices, and there's lots of people on the net that are now they're finding these fields. They're being able to detect them with their hands. They can feel them when they walk in the room. There are certain devices where you can get an idea of where that field is, but that field is conscious. It's aware, and it wants to play. So when you put your hand on the unit, it sees the energy of your hand and supplies you what you need, because it's everything. It's all that you could possibly need and not need all at the same time. But because it's aware, when you put your hand on the unit, it's not going to feed you arsenic. It's not going to feed you wood, because you don't need it. It's going to see your energy field and go, oh, there's a little hole there, and I'll go fill that hole. We're finding this with the health devices. We're finding it with just the fields around the reactors. People enter that field, they feel better. They feel calmer. They feel clearer. It balances everything out really, really well. And the reason why you're not getting electrocuted when you touch these units is because we're not working with electricity. We're working with plasma. Electricity is a small part of it, but the majority of it is this conscious energy that says, well, you don't want to be electrocuted, so I'm not going to do that.
So
can you review? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Cary.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Dave, we need to get you louder. I can just barely hear you.
Yeah, see if you can come right up to the mic.
I'm coming right up to the mic now. I hope that's better for you. I've just got one more question, actually, John. Do I need to keep this plugged into the power eternally? What's happening while it's getting conditioned?
Well, Vivek and I use a term called plasma pressure. It's a misnomer. It's not really accurate, but it's the only way we have to describe it right now. When you plug your system in, the plasma field begins to build, and it starts to puff up like a balloon. And it's this, what we call pressure, that you're accessing when you plug a device into that. When you disconnect a device, when you unplug your plasma unit, you take that electrical vibration trigger away from it, that field collapses. And you have to rebuild it again in order to use it. It takes a little bit of time. The more nano coating you have on your system, the more familiar your system is with what you want from it, the less time it takes. So initially, for the first, I would say probably 3 to 6 months, it'll take a minute, 2 minutes to rebuild. I would think after a couple of years of running these things, you plug it in, it's there, because the plasma knows what you want, and it will just provide it as you need it. So when we turn devices on and off, particularly devices we're using as load devices on the Magrav unit, when we put a load on that unit, it draws plasma out of the unit, and it also reflects plasma back into your electrical grid system, because it goes both directions.
I hate to ask, but what is a load thing that you just said?
Well, a load is
when you put a load
device.
on the system,
Anything,
a device.
anything you want to power. Now, I tried using the terms upstream and downstream, hoping people would be able to get that, and some have, some haven't. I haven't come up with a with a good way to describe the two sides of the Magrav unit clearly so that people understand what's going on. So I went back to input and output. The input is the side you plug into the wall. The output is the side you plug stuff into. When you put a device on the output,
who is that?
Benjamin Steele.
Oh, Benjamin, sorry, we're doing a show right now. Are you there? Go ahead, JC.
Okay, well, when you plug a device into the output of the plasma unit, you're essentially asking the unit to pass plasma. As it passes plasma, it's creating a field. It's creating this bubble, and the bubble doesn't care. If it's got a place to go, it's going to go there. So some of it goes into your load, some of it goes back into your wall. And it's the stuff going into the wall that we really want to work with, because that's where we're going to get the greatest benefit. When you turn on and off the load, you're constantly expanding and collapsing this bubble, and what's going back into your wall, giving you the greatest benefit, is constantly moving. That's why when Mr. Keshe was describing this, he says, leave it turned on, because when you turn something off and turn it back on again, you're going to get a momentary, your meter's going to spin, and then it'll slow down again. At the end of the process, this is what happens. At the beginning of the process, you don't see a lot of benefit. You don't see a lot of change in your meter. But over time, the more you use it, the more you see what's happening on the other end. And it does. It takes time, and you're not going to see results right away.
So obviously, what's really fantastic is the way that Mr. Keshe has brought the Magrav unit forward, is so that we can basically adapt the systems that we already have to using plasma energy. And do you think, I'm sure, I would guess, like you said something about a couple of years from now, JC, but I'm guessing at some point we will begin developing systems that don't require that old system.
We're already working on systems that are purely plasma. They don't use electricity. They just use plasma. They're working on heat systems. They're working on lighting systems, motive systems, devices that create motion where you can build a field around yourself and go somewhere. Purely plasmatically, where you don't have batteries, you don't have a generator, you don't have to plug it into the wall. Because this plasma is everywhere. It's all around us. We swim in it. We're like fish in the ocean. It's so much a part of who we are and where we are that we just can't even perceive it.
Beautiful. Well said. I'd like to just say, as Mr. Keshe said when I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, which was really wonderful to get to visit with him in person, and that is on our list of shows, is he said we're in the frontier stages of this. We're in the pioneering stages of it. And one thing I hear, I hear people from everywhere, some think, oh, plasma energy doesn't work. How can it work? And then some are getting it. Many are getting it in building devices. And we're all in this, we're kind of in this baby stage of learning how it works, of putting it into practice. And I just want to bow to all of the people who are working so hard around the world to build their own devices and power units and health pens and pain pads and all these different, even some people starting to come up with, as you said, kind of the motion units. They can stick their hand behind it and it disappears because they're going into a different level of their existence, almost, so to speak. So we're in such a big time of change on planet Earth, and as even Vivek was saying earlier about the shipping industry, and we were talking about the changing economic systems around the world, it's really important for us to embrace possibility, because as I say in the 21st Century Superhuman book, our thoughts literally create our reality. And if we can embrace the fact that we can come out of this old rigid 3D structure where there's been a really big power over system for thousands of years, literally running like a slave culture here, harvesting off of us with taxes and money and corporations and all of this stuff. And that we can, when I teach my workshops, I say free energy, and people say, well, energy isn't free. And I say, well, yes, energy is free, because it's what creation is coming from every second, and there's an abundance of it. So we're learning how to utilize this, and I want to thank you guys for all the work you're doing on a daily basis, explaining it to people over and over. I'm around you both behind the scenes, and I just see what a great job you're doing, and I just want to say thank you. And then Dave, for being down there in Peru and just jumping in. And Dave, one thing I want to say about you is you are so gifted technically. I know you used to build giant billion-dollar hotels in the Caribbean. And there's something about you when you learn how to do something. I've watched you for the last few years in Peru, and you just jump in, you know, from water purification and trying to put new systems in motion. And you've done the same thing. You started like power making GANS, you know, you just followed JC's instructions and all the little details, you know, using the little electrical charge and the bubbler and everything. You did it the right way, and you've just made tons of GANs really fast, and you were able to engage these beautiful young Peruvian people or of all ages. And we've done a couple videos already, and we'll do more, but we're there learning along with you, and you're getting, you know, making the coils and all of that. So I'd like you to just kind of jump in and give us a little overview of what you're doing down there besides just having built the Magrav unit, and then let's look at your slides and you can tell us about what you're creating.
Okay, thanks, Cary. And don't forget...
and come up a little closer if you can.
Okay. Is that better now?
That's better.
Okay, yeah, I don't do these things on my own. I do them with a collective globally, you know, the Mission Impossible team. And, you know, here we've got interested parties. I've got Chris standing right next to me. Say hello, Chris.
Hello.
He's from England, and he's...
Hey, Chris.
He's grabbing the bull by the horns. We've got Lazarus outside. He's making his frame for his machine. And Lazarus comes in here, and he just takes over, and he just starts mass producing GANs by putting air in there and a little spark in there and stuff that I didn't even know. So, you know, thanks for the compliments. I'll take them. But, you know, I owe it to other people as well. And this is how we work. We work as a team. Nobody knows everything, and nobody knows nothing. So we are about to, and you can see this on wwxi4.com, we're going to be moving in to mass produce these units. And I wouldn't do that if I didn't think this machine worked. And if I thought that I got a negative comment from Vivek or John Carl that my machine isn't working, I wouldn't go and rent a very expensive workshop and start getting Peruvian engineers to start making these things. And guess what? We've got 10 engineers who are very interested, Peruvian engineers. They are going to be creating the future. Cary, that these people are starting to understand GANs and plasma and Keshe technology. These people are wanting it, and they're wanting to put their machines in the cars and in their homes. And that's what we're going to be mass producing, and that's the audience we're going to be looking for. So that's starting Saturday. Cary.
Would you like to go ahead, and I'll do a screen sharing and show some of your slides, and you can tell us about what they are?
Okay. Well, you can do screen share, that'd be great. I'll walk you through the pictures as to what we've created here. And don't forget, Cary, we have purposely here been behind time. We have been patiently waiting until, one, I knew how to build something and knew what I was doing. And two, you know, we had to make sure that we had the positive intent behind the machine working. And asked John Carl, what am I doing wrong? This machine's working. What am I doing wrong? And John, you can confirm that there's not a lot that I'm doing wrong so far that you can see. Is that correct?
Oh, it's definitely correct, Dave. One of the wonderful things, one of the most important things that you brought up yesterday that you recognized is your patience. You didn't push them. You got an idea, you looked at it, a couple of little test experiments, and you allowed the system to tell you what it wanted. And I think that's why you're having such good successes, because you took your time. You didn't try to force it into a box. You allowed it to evolve naturally.
Yeah, and it's a shame I can't show you. It's a shame I can't show you what Lazaro is thinking right now, because I mean the guy's a genius, that's for sure. And he's gone to one of the Peruvian trees here, and he's got a great big. What should we call it, John? I think we call it a rhinoceros egg, or a what did you call it yesterday?
A dinosaur egg. They're huge.
And it's a great big thing. It dries up, and you take the juice out the middle, and he's going to be putting his Magrav unit inside one of these straight off a tree in Peru. So, I mean, he's getting back in touch with nature, and that is a beautiful sight to get.
Yeah, for the folks listening who haven't seen this, Dave can tell you what they're called, but they're massive seeds. They're bigger than a basketball, and they are shaped like an egg, and they look like a giant dinosaur egg.
Maybe I'll show you pictures next week of that, because Laz has got. No, we can't show our camera. I'm sorry, Laz. But he got one here. I wonder if I can. No, you're on screen share as well. But
well, I can go off screen. We can come back. Do you have something you want to show us there?
Really smells beautiful. I'm going to see, and even if the screen freezes, it should
go ahead, show us.
Okay, here we go.
And what is it called?
A
wow.
window. And that's half of it, and the other half is, if you can see my screen.
Beautiful.
So that's where he's going to be putting the Magrav inside there. That's
nice.
Really ingenious.
It matches your shirt, Dave.
Sorry?
It matches your shirt. It's really a cool picture. Go ahead, hold it up. Hold it up one more time with the video on. I'll put you on speaker view.
Okay. He's gone now. He's gone.
Okay. Never mind.
Sorry about.
Cool. That's all right. That was beautiful.
So that's pure invention, and I really love it. And don't forget, our machine was made with Peruvian Caña Brava. The little young engineer Liliana made that for us. So, I think the next ones that we make are going to be more modern, because I think the people of Peru would like a modern one as well. They're very nice to show on TV, and gives you the feel of Peru, of course, because it's so natural here. However, I had another question for John, Carl, on the fact is that if my machine was not working, I could not move into that workshop. But I've got 5 more machines coming, and I expect those 5 machines to work just as well as the first machine. Is there any reason why I should be expecting anything different, John?
No, actually, just the opposite. The next iteration of your machine should be less issues, less troubles. It should function even better because you have the clearing now. When you build a machine, you understand putting your energy into that machine. And when you make these new machines, because you've had the success already, worked marvelously, as from my perspective. The next one you build, you'll be putting that excellent positiveness into that device, and you should have even less trouble. The coils will wind easier. They'll assemble better. Your GANS will stick better. I can't predict what's going to happen, but I expect you to have less and less issues as you go through this.
Well, Cary, I mean, can you go back to screen share and we show this? Because one of the most important key issues that we're basing our finance on for the new office, which is a big undertaking, Cary. You'll see with that photograph that you had up on xi4.com, is that we've got 2-story office, and I want people to come from North Americas and Europe to build their own machine, and we're going to be charging them $500 to come here to our office. There's the shop front, so you'll see that now on the page. The shop entrance is on the left-hand side. The garage is on the right-hand side. The upstairs, you can see, is where we've got 4 bedrooms up there. And then we've got a giant workshop where we can have about 10 benches, all making and producing units for the house and the car. And you can come here to Peru, get the Peruvian experience, and you can go away and plug your machine and you'll know all about it, and you'll be able to speak to these people, John and Vivek and Cary, about what you're making live in the workshop. It's got very good internet there, and you know, there's no excuses. You will be going away with you're leaving us $500. We will use that wisely to pay for this office and pay for the making and pay for a cottage industry, for more Peruvian people and engineers to come forward and work with plasma. This is groundbreaking. I want all our followers that follow us at MIP Peru and the Keshe people, I would like you to consider a few things that I'm missing from this office. I need a bed for myself. I need a printer, and they're all listed. And you can contribute by donating to the PayPal at the top right of the page at xi4.com, and just send us some money so that we can move into the and start educating these people and paying these engineers. The reason for this, Cary, is guess how much an engineer earns in Peru? I bet you can't even guess, Cary. You're muted anyway.
Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Yeah, I have no idea, Dave.
Well, I mean, something in the region of 2 to 3 sols, or maybe 4 sols an hour. That is $1.50.
Wow.
So we've agreed with the owner of the this place that you can see on your screen now. We've agreed that we're going to be paying in April, not before, because we need a month to set up. But we're going to be paying them 6 sols an hour, which is $2 an hour. And that will massively improve their quality of lifestyle. We don't want to give them the big money just yet. We do want to give them bonuses and stuff when they can make their own machine. But we don't want to go into the big money just yet, because I'm advised by Peruvian company owners who he employs 30 people. He knows how to employ these people. So we're taking a massive leap for mankind here in Tarapoto. We're going to be moving in these offices on Saturday. I do need some recompense and donations from you. If you can really help by going to www.xi4.com, please contribute to any of the items you see on the program. We do need, they are an absolute need. They are essential need, not like luxury.
Dave, I'll just say that I will list your web link with your PayPal under the video on YouTube and under it in the blog post that I put it in at Naturally Better TV. And I just want to say to people out there too, there's many of us who have now stepped out of the matrix, so to speak, around the world, and we're working really hard on various projects. And if you're still in the system and you have the kind of income where you can afford to go out and buy Starbucks every day and dinners out, if you might consider just giving up a few of those each month and contributing to a program like this to help get it going. There's so much. I mean, ultimately you see this as earning its own income, right, Dave? But you're kind of teaching the new technology and getting something new going here. You there? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm muted. Well, I want to introduce you to Chris here. Chris has got the PayPal site, and he's going to be doing some project management with us, and he's going to be steering this mechanism forward. Chris, say hello to the team here.
Hello.
And you have to speak close to the machine. I'm sorry.
Hey, Chris, you want to turn your video on a second?
Okay, let's have a look at Chris. Do your hair, Chris. There you are. Here's Chris from England.
Chris, hello. Nice to meet you.
So Chris is going to be helping us. He's making his own machine. Tell us a little bit about what you're learning at the moment, Chris.
Well, I came to Peru to help Dave with his project, working for the people of San Roque. When I finally decided to actually get off my behind and come here, I noticed he was working on the Keshe machines, which is something I've been looking about on the internet, which so I was really excited to get involved with that. And I basically came here knowing absolutely nothing about their production. I understand the concept behind how they work, but how to make them, I tried looking at the Keshe stuff and it just didn't register. I need visceral contact. I need to do things to learn how to do them. I need to do them to learn how to do them. So I've been learning from Dave and following his example. And I've got all the coils wound, and we're ready for nano coating today.
No, you've nano coated now.
Oh no, we're ready for GANS dipping.
GANS dipping today. So we're going to be dipping in, we call John Carl mix. And John Carl, we dip those in a 25% bath of all 3 GANS. Is that correct, John?
Yes, the GANS you put on your coils needs to be very thin. It's a very thin veneer. You don't cake the GANS on there. If your GANS is clumpy blotched gobs on there, your system simply very, very tiny amount.
Okay. We have put the bath and we put bobbins in, we hang them up to dry, and then if it's nice and sunny.
Dave, we probably need you to turn your video off again. You're kind of blurring there.
Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we are dipping our GANS and we're putting it out in the sun to dry, and then we will work on the capacitors, and then we'll connect the machine up. So we look like we'll have 2 machines good to go this weekend. And we'll have and I've got 2 more on the bench ready to go. Lazaro has got his machine. He's just on the capacitors now, so he's good to go. So there's quite a lot of machines we're going to be having on display in Tarapoto for anyone who comes here. You can see a variety of different machines in different locations at different forms of the commissioning. So we will have a lot for people to see when they come to Tarapoto. Never mind Peru. You'll have a lot of Keshe stuff going around.
Great. You know, that's awesome. And I'm so excited to hear. And I would like to just say again about community, you know, because we've been in this old civilization, which has been built around I, me, more for me, you know, getting ahead, you know, beating out the other guy or whatever. And what's happening with so many of us is we are beginning to just have these families of people around the world that we're working with. And I mean, I've been working with all of you a long time, and Dave, you seem to coalesce people to where you are, and it's really beautiful because, again, like you said, we don't do any of this alone. We are much better together. We're more creative. We're able to come up with ideas and information that we can't do by ourselves. And it's just really a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flow of what's happening right now. And I'm so grateful for all of the people who are choosing to step forward and kind of flow with us as a community. I get messages all the time just saying thank you so much for the videos, because our lives are changing because of it. And I know every single one of us is contributing to that. And we probably have a big family we don't even know about, you know. So and I know you guys are working with people all over the world right now. So Dave, we're so glad to meet Chris and everybody else you bring there. There always seems to be a big posse of people gathering around what you're doing. And thank you for, you know, somebody needs to be a hub and just hold the energy, and you do that well.
Yeah, thanks, Cary. And it's great that you can meet Chris, because when you send us some donations to us so that we can operate this office from Saturday, they will go to Chris. He's arranged his PayPal on the website. So that's who's getting the funds, and he's going to give it over to us. And then we will work out where we're going to be spending that money so that we get the best for the office, that we can then, don't forget, giving people is a great asset, because what did I do with the first machine? I gave it away. I gave it to the electrical engineer's shop, and it was the best thing I ever did, because I would still be having that machine sitting on this desk and it would not be working if I didn't do that. And the gift of a gift is a beautiful feeling, and you want to see those guys buzzing down in Tarapoto. It really is a pleasure to see.
That's exciting. And Dave, you also have an offer out to anyone that wants to come and build their own power unit there in Peru with you, correct?
That's right. And you don't learn from me, you don't learn from Chris, you don't learn from Lazarus, and you don't learn from John. You learn from all of us. We are all in this together, and we can only build these machines together. We can't build them on our own, but you can do it in your hands on your own. So yes, please come to Peru. Please build your own machine and take it back with you. as I said before, we asked for a donation of $500 for the pleasure of using our workshop that we're setting up this weekend. And then you can go back with all the information that you need from John, Vivek, yourself, Cary, and anyone that we've got, any of the engineers, the Peruvian engineers. You don't even need to speak Spanish. These Peruvian engineers point, and they make a point that you understand it. You really do, Cary. You've been here, haven't you, Cary?
You know what? The Spanish is simpler in Peru than it is here in Costa Rica. It's really interesting. I understand everybody down there. So let's go ahead and look at more of your slides. Is that okay? And move ahead here a little bit? Okay. I'm going to switch to screen sharing, and we'll move on to the next slide. What is this guy doing? We can't hear you, Dave. Come up close.
It's not come up yet. So, now that's the entrance of 447. Here on Cusco is where our new offices are. And we've already got a few takers coming to see it. And then, can you scroll up a little bit more? And yeah, now that is the electrical workshop. And that, if every single light you see in there, you'll see one by a television down the bottom. You'll see one underneath the workstation. You'll see 3 hanging from the ceiling and 1 in the corner. And there's our Caña Brava machine. That's the first one we've built. And that's working with a small light that I've got on there. And that was in day 3 of the commissioning process. So,
I even see, Dave, I see orbs around the top of that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well,
so that's working. That's working off the Magrav plasma generator, right?
No, it's not a generator, Cary. Remember, it is.
Okay, you tell me. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a reactor. It's a plasma reactor, and it reacts to the energy needs that I need, and that's all I know about it. I'm not technical like John and Vivek. I'm not professional like John and Vivek. I'm professional in different areas, but that is a plasma-driven light that you're looking at there.
Well.
So, yeah. And we're expecting the other machines. I'm going to be plugging one into our offices, our new offices, hopefully by this weekend. That'd be great if I can get that one going.
Can you see these guys in this picture? 2 guys, and they're holding some wires. And
now, isn't it funny that you look at that picture there with Carlos in the workstation and Roosevelt, the engineer, who's by the other second workstation, and all the lights there are all lit up on day 11 of the commissioning process of this unit. And you'll see next to Carlos by the workstation, there's the machine plugged into the mains. You can see it plugged into the mains. And you see every single light and all the benches and all the sockets in the benches. There's about a dozen of them. All of them are working, and they use the heat guns and everything there. And these engineers, it's ironic, these guys know about plasma. Just as we plug that machine in, guess who walked through the door? Is Dr. Darko and Hilno. And you can see them. You can see them just coming through the front door of the shop in Tarapoto as we plugged into the mains. Isn't that really beautiful?
Nice. Yep. And they've been part of this ongoing Mission Impossible crew global for the last few years. Great people.
So, yeah, and therefore this whole shop now will be plugged in on Saturday, and we'll be running solely on plasma energy and the entire shop. Now, this is a great picture. I really like this one because that is a kit. And that's what you come to, when you pay your $500 and come here, you will learn to do exactly what's on there now. Those 3 bobbins and your capacitors, which are Vivek's capacitors, I'm going to call them. That's my new style. I've trimmed them down nice and neatly. That's what you will be making, and then you'll nanocoat all of that material. You'll see that the split capacitors and the 3 capacitors on their own are all nano-coated, but the wiring and the bobbins are not nano-coated. Well, I can confirm that they are nano-coated now. They're getting ready for a bath. So that's what you'll come to learn to do in Peru, is exactly
nice.
Picture.
And JC, does anybody else call these bobbins besides Dave, or is that his coined phrase?
Dave's the only one that calls them bobbins. I've
It's really
been
a nice
on
word.
on the Skype chats and the other chats. I try to go with coils, loops, and layers.
Okay.
There's the coils are what you make the loops out of. The loops are what you make the layers out of, and that way because when we're discussing this, we're talking about magnetical coils, magnetical loops. If you look at this picture, each one of these loops, let me annotate so I can. You've got each one of these loops. You've got two coils within this loop. There's a coil inside of this outside coil. Within the coils, you've got a magnetical coil, which is the outside coil, and you've got a gravitational coil, which is the inside coil. Now, within the loops, you've got a gravitational loop, which is the green line here, and you've also got a magnetical loop.
We're not seeing your annotating showing up. I'm not seeing it on my computer anyway, so I'm not sure what will show you.
Okay. And because it can be very confusing if you don't distinguish between a coil and a loop and a layer. And Dave calls the loops bobbins, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's clear when we're discussing it, and he understands what we're talking about. So that's why, Dave's the only one that uses that terminology right now. I don't know if it's going to catch on. Maybe it will. Who knows?
It's a circular thing, I think of a bobbin for a sewing machine, so it goes in my head really easily. But
let me explain myself, Cary.
Okay.
The Keshe blueprints in Spanish call them bobinas. That's where we get it from.
Oh, in Spanish. Interesting.
Bobinas, so I just convert that over to bobbins.
Beautiful.
So maybe catch on.
Maybe. All right, should we go on, or do you guys have more to say about this one? Beautiful unit, and looks like a voltmeter.
Pretty.
Yeah, it is. Dave, speak up. Give us your.
Okay. That's Carlos, and he's testing. He doesn't want electricity. He's actually looking for the source of no electricity, and north is a good thing. And that was pre-commissioning to take the 500 watts that we are now plugged into and receiving every day. So these guys know their stuff, and when you come to Peru, you will meet these guys. They are, Carlos is 50 years old, and he's 30 years into electronics, and you can see the LG big TV screen there. He tears those apart and puts them back together again. Very, very clever man. And we've got about 6 more engineers of that caliber here in Peru, and you get a chance to be with them, and they are running away with this thing. They take that machine off me and they plug it in. Something I can't. So.
Super cool. Awesome.
What's next, Cary?
It is a bunch of coils. Can you see it?
Not yet. It's not come through yet.
Yeah, these look like coils just been assembled. They're just you've got the magnetical on the left hand side, and the gravitational in the center, and a little ping pong ball. Originally, a lot of people were using pong balls for the GANS reservoir that goes in the center of each one of these loops, and they work. Dave is using little glass bottles, and because it's easy for him to get. But that's basically this is prior to actually wiring the loops into a layer. What we're looking at here.
Really nice. Dave, can you see it yet at all?
I can now, and basically, again, this is the learning curve that we go through, because one of the sessions that you will come to do, that's the first thing you'll do, is learn to do that with 6 bobbins, the smaller and the larger, and then you join them together. And we've got some pretty cool, neat photographs and schematics of how to join those together. And literally one look at the joining together of these bobbins and how you connect them all together. Literally you can do it blindfolded after you've done the first one. So
Nice.
you'll be able to go on and make many more machines after, let's call them reactors, many more reactors after you've done the first one. So another reason to come to Peru is you will learn how to do these very professionally. We've got a machine here, which is a stripper, straightener, and coiler. And you just blast it through the drill, and it just does everything for you. It even takes the rubber coating off the wire, so you've got pure raw copper, which is the best stuff to use for these bobbins or coils, as John calls them.
Fantastic. That's what I love about how you do things, Dave. You're always putting together ingenious methods of getting things done, too. I appreciate it.
Can't do it in my own hands. I'm not going to tell you how, because I can't do it. And it's a simple rule that I've got. It came from my master carpentry in 1981. Now, this is a fabulous photograph. That's the top of the machine. And basically, I turn around to Carlos, the engineer, and Roosevelt, the electrical engineer, and I said, I haven't a clue what you've just done. So Carlos said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to stick it on the machine so you can understand what I've just done.
Ah, beautiful.
So he wrote that down and stuck it on top of the machine, and then I got it. I just got it. I went, oh my God, I understand what you're talking about. And let me walk you through this. This is so important. And John and Vivek, especially Vivek, if you've got any comments of what Carlos has drawn down for us here, you've got a 220-volt supply going into 2 points. One marked with an X, which is an actual factor cross, which is plus, and one with a minus. And if you look at the top of the page, that minus negative goes all the way across the page to a point passing two sets of capacitors and linking to a power, a load. Let's call that one on the right-hand side a load. And then if you go back to the other one with the plus, it cuts through all the the capacitors, then it goes into the bobbins or the coils, and then it comes out again and goes through another set of capacitors and then goes to the load. This is why we know, and the way Carlos drew this, that electricity is not lighting that load. It is plasma that's lighting that load. John or Vivek, have you got any comments on that? Very important little sketch there.
Well, if you look at the sketch, most people would look at this sketch and just say, okay, the positive goes into these coils and comes out of the coils and goes into the other plug. Yeah, it's just passing electricity. But when we actually measure the coils, the actual Magrav reactor itself, it's an insulator. It may as well be a piece of glass or a piece of plastic. It cannot pass the electricity. It simply can't do it. It's like the insulation on the outside of the wire. You can have 220 volts going through a wire, and you can grab the insulation, and you're not going to get any electricity because it's an insulator. And we have to really drive this point home, that if your reactor is built properly, no electricity passes through those coils.
Thank you, JC. That's excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Vivek, what are your thoughts?
Dave's running away with this.
Isn't he?
And the thing is, I'm sure that his unit is going to work much better than mine, simply because it's all built out of natural materials. I've used plastics in mine. He used wood, he used bamboo, he nano-coated the wood and bamboo. That's perfect. That's really beautiful.
Nice.
Vivek, what do you think about Carlos's sketch and how he educated me, like in 5 minutes, by just drawing what he did? I mean, this is a picture of someone who knows what they're doing, isn't it?
Yep, that's right. I think it's brilliant that once he drew out that sketch, and you got it immediately. So that's definitely a good thing. There's only one thing I would like to say, because the way that I've wired it up, it's a little bit different from what's shown in the sketch, because neutral goes through the capacitors C1, 2, and 3 on the left-hand side, and then goes straight out to the load. It doesn't go through the second set of capacitors. So the second set of capacitors only passes live. It doesn't.
Yeah, you've got the way you've got yours wired up, Vivek, is you're using a feedback loop. You're using the second set of capacitors to feed the plasma energy back into the beginning of the reactor as a strengthening process. There's a number of different ways that these can be wired. The capacitors can be hooked up, and we don't know which one is optimal. We don't know even if we want different configurations for different purposes. This is something we're still working on.
Yeah. No, what I was saying is that you see the capacitors on the right-hand side, they have neutral going through them. That's the only difference that I had with my configuration. I did not have neutral going through those.
Yeah, when Dave was discussing this, when we were looking at the system, and he started getting confused with all of the different ways this could be wired, I stressed that let's just keep it very simple. Let's keep it to the first version that we know functions really well. And once we have one that's working properly, then we can start making the adjustments and adding the next ideas into this. And what we're looking at right here is the very first version. We know this functions. This is the simplest way we can make this. It may not be, but we know it works.
Cool. Great. Oh, God, you guys, such a nice overview. Thank you, and for all the explanations. Shall I go ahead and move on to the next?
Yeah, Cary, thank you. This is how we learn. This is how we do this. The only way we, because I don't know any other way.
Dave, come up close as you can.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Can you see this beautiful, coils that have been made and awaiting the next step, maybe?
You've got a lot more information on that page than you can, that meets the eye, immediately. You've got more information there. Now you'll see tape marks on those coils or spirals. One set fits right inside the other, and you'll see that there are divisional tape marks on. And what's the purpose of that? This is very important. One of the nicer parts of working with these machines is that you work to a series of 9. And a series of 9 means that on the larger spirals, you will see that there are 144. Now, how can we count 144 turns without somebody walking in the door and saying, "Hi, Dave," and then you just screw up and you can't remember what number you were on? So what we do is we take them up every 27 or 30, doesn't matter, you choose what you want, but at the end of the day you want 144 turns, which adds up to 9. 144 adds to 9, and the other ones you've got 81, which 8 and 1 adds up to 9, and for the condensers you get 27 on each of them. That adds up to 9, 2 and 7. So we use, because our coil maker, stripper and straightener does all 3 in 1, what we get is an absolute tight coil, and you can pop it on the desk and you can measure it and put a tape on where you want to separate your coil at and pull off at exactly 144 coils. We will show you exactly how to do that when you come to Peru, and you will have that on your desk ready to make the spiral, the bobbins as I call them, the coils as John calls them. So that's very, very educational, just that picture alone there, Cary.
Nice. Very nice. Cool. Because I've done a lot of coil counting myself. So here we are. This is the end. We have a little more here. Okay. So you have this as in your blog post at XI4, Dave. Our mantra will be creative plasma technologies for free energy and health. We shall be learning more about Keshe technologies and experimenting and implementing new new plasma power reactors that can be delivered to the people of this region to use in home and for personal and health purposes. I just grabbed that off your blog post because I thought it was really nice, explaining what you're doing there.
That's a nice particular picture of the upper floor where we'll be living in the offices there, and that's taken from the garage below. So, you know, Chris and I are well looking forward to moving into these offices now, and let's make something of it in the first 3 months. If we do as we intend to do, which is have a successful business proposition ready for these Peruvian people to take over in 3 months' time, by June the 1st, I can see Peruvian engineers running a very lucrative business here. I'm giving it all away for them because I don't want my name on pieces of paper. They want to be able to make themselves wealthy again, and they deserve it. They've been stolen from for so long. So again, we're in the frequency of gift, and we're going to be giving Peru a chance to be moving into plasma circles and moving into great health and clean energy. That's what we want, Cary.
Yes, absolutely.
So
this is just a picture you had up there. I think this might have come from somewhere else, right, at your blog post. I think I've seen these are beautiful pictures of the health pen.
I love them. It shows me that I can make that. So
yes.
Yeah, that's what I like about these things. So we're going to be learning more and more, and we're going to be making these. So, you know, that's why I put it up on that post. You can come here and you'll be making that and taking that back home with you.
Can we go back to those health pens? There's some stuff in there that we need to clarify. Okay, this is a very advanced version. This is one version. Actually, I haven't seen this specific drawing before, but we've got a little tiny motor, a little GANS ball in there. We've got an LED light. These things are not necessary. You can simply make the coil as the drawing on the left shows, and they will work just fine. For people who are just getting started out, keep it simple. Start with the very easy, very simple processes, either the one wire coil as shown here, or there's actually a 2-coil system that's even more powerful. But you don't need moving parts, you don't need little motors, you don't need any of that stuff to make a health pen that will function really well. Dave has made them in Peru. Vivek showing his system in the little sidebar there. And please don't get bogged down on complexity, because none of this needs to be complex. One of the problems with human beings is that we drop complexity into simple systems and confuse ourselves constantly. Very simple. Where's my notes? Out of reach.
And we've done some videos on the health pens.
A very simple system, just like this. 2 coils, one inside the other, a pin running down the center. That will give you amazing results.
And you're generally going to put it into something so you're not holding it in your bare hand, right?
Yes, and this is what I put them into. These are just dry erase markers. I get them from the dollar store, and they just open them up, pop it out, take the guts out, and I don't know, you might be able to hear it.
Yep, we can hear it.
The coils inside bouncing around, and
yep.
I put a little piece of the electrical insulation over the end of the wire when I stick it in there, so that the point of the wire doesn't come out. And that's it. That's all you really need. These work so good. Oh, it's amazing what they do.
Yes, it is. I agree. Vivek, yours was really nice too. And I know we've done some videos on health pens, and I've done more with other people besides you guys, making a little more complex ones. But I think keeping the simple methodology in front of us is really important.
That's right. In fact, what we did here in Singapore last week on Saturday, we took 2 of these health pens. This is one of them. and this is the other version. Okay, just slight differences, but same basic design principle. We took it to an energy practitioner who practices Qigong, and we gave them to him, and his first comment was, "This makes my work much more effective." And it was extremely awesome because he had a bit of a stiff shoulder, so he asked me to apply the health pen onto his shoulder. And when I did, I got such an energetic feedback through my hand. I had never felt it that intense before, but it was a very, very powerful healing session that we went through, that I did for him, that he did for others as well. And it was very enjoyable, very positive comments. And the other thing that he said was he can see the energy that is coming out of the pen, and it is golden. It is golden brown in color. So I just mentioned to him that these health pens are made out of copper, which are nano coated, and he said, "Yeah, that explains it." So
Nice.
we'll be going back again this weekend, and we will be carrying out further tests. And
Take some pictures, Vivek.
Yep, we will. We are actually taking photos of that. So we'll also be asking him to see whether he can manipulate the color of the energy based on his own Qigong practice.
Cool. I would like to just say, rather than going down another path right now, let's bring this show to a close. I think we've been on plenty long, and Dave, we're so grateful you could be with us this morning and you had good enough internet to do this with us. You might turn your video back on for a second. We want to share with people that you are looking for donations just to get this project up and running. They're in Peru, and the link for that, for your PayPal, will be under this video on YouTube, and it will be under the video on the blog post that I put at Naturally Better TV. I want to thank Naturally Better TV, which is an online television channel, for producing these shows, and there's also many other great producers on there bringing forth really great information about the cutting edge of what's going on. So, Dave, any last few words of wisdom you'd like to toss out at us?
No, I think we've done well covering virtually everything here now. I'd just say that Peruvian experience, it will call you. You know what I mean, Cary.
I do.
Call you. It will magnetize you to come here. If
Yes.
you want to pick up plasma technologies, this is a place to do it. And we're very free here. The children are free. We haven't got that intense lifestyle that you live in the West, which is awful in my view. I've been here 2 years, and we will be having a festival on my birthday, which is my 2 years in Peru. On my birthday, on the 2nd of April, we'll have a big festival in the new office, Chris. Mm-hmm. And it's been great that you can meet Chris. Lazaro is so busy, he's running around doing stuff in the jungle here to bring him back stuff to make his machine. He's got no time for this show. So, you know, I just say to you, please dig deep and look at those items that we do need. They are basic items. Please contribute to us. It's going to go to a great cause. And in 3 months' time, I envisage a beginning of Magrav Terapoto as an official company turning out produce for house and car and health. So, Cary, that's all I want to say. I really envisage the future here. I can see it, and I can see the Peruvians running it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dave. And you're absolutely right. One of the things I've been talking about a lot lately, because I'm in Costa Rica and I've spent time in Peru and Mexico, is the density of the modern civilization is getting difficult for a lot of people to be in. The dense materialism in North America, Europe, some of these countries. But what's really awesome is we get to travel to these other countries like Peru and Costa Rica, and what we carry with us is the tools and the learning that we have that have been able to incubate in these great places where we've been able to grow with unlimited freedom, so to speak, and economics and education. And so it's really a wonderful exchange to come to the simpler country and have the nourishment of Pachamama or Mother Earth just nourish our souls, but then be able to link, with the beneficial values of the modern civilization. So we're going to merge the two things together, and I think really good things will continue here. So this is a 21st Century Superhuman show. I am Carrie Ellis. Please watch our shows weekly. They come out on various days. These are all pre-recorded. And again, my website is 21stcenturysuperhuman.com. John, Carl, and Vivek, thank you both so much. And
Thank you so much.
yes, you're so welcome. And these guys are tech wizards with the Keshe Foundation, and I'm lucky to be in some discussion rooms where I get to see what they're processing every day. And I want to just thank everybody who's working so hard on the planet to bring in this new. So many blessings. Much love to all. Ciao, adios.